I still hear your voice at night. Make me feel alright. Jump right back into my life. Cause we could dance the night away. Make me love you through the haze. Ain't no need to be afraid.
Imagine you wake up like any other morning. You walk into the bathroom, you switch on the light, you look into the mirror, and someone is staring back. They have your eyes, your hair, your face. They copy every movement perfectly, but something feels wrong. Deep inside, you know that isn't you. You step closer, so do they. You raise your hand, they do the same. Every movement is identical, yet your mind refuses to believe. You whisper, "Who are you?" No answer, only silence. You look away, then back again. They're still there, watching, waiting, looking exactly like you, but feeling like a complete stranger. Imagine living every single day believing that the person in your mirror is an imposter, not a reflection, not an illusion, but a different person trapped behind the glass.
That's chilling. It reads like a scene from a psychological thriller, but it's real for a small number of people. Scientists call it Mirror Self Misidentification. In plain terms, a person can see all the facial details and still be convinced the reflection isn't them. Let's unpack how that can happen.
Okay, help me picture the mechanics. I always thought recognizing myself in the mirror was automatic. How does the brain mess that up?
There are two main pieces to the puzzle, often described as a two-factor process. First, something creates an unusual experience when the person looks at themselves. Maybe a disruption in how the image is processed, or in the emotional response that normally tells us, yes, that's me. Second, a problem with belief evaluation, usually linked to frontal brain regions, prevents the person from rejecting the strange idea that the reflection is someone else, even when other evidence says otherwise. So it's not just a visual problem, and it's not just a delusion. It's a mismatch between perception and the brain's ability to interpret that perception as self.
So this could be caused by an injury or a stroke?
Exactly. Mirror self-misidentification is most often seen after right hemisphere damage, especially to areas involved in face processing and self-awareness. It can appear with strokes, dementia, traumatic brain injuries, or other neurological events. It also sometimes shows up alongside other delusional misidentification syndromes. Capgras, where a familiar person is believed to be an imposter, is a common example. Researchers think different brain networks, one for recognizing faces, one for attaching emotional significance, and one for evaluating beliefs, need to be in sync to correctly identify ourselves in mirrors. When those connections break down, the result can be profoundly disorienting.
That must make daily life really hard. How do people cope if they can't trust the mirror?
It varies. Some people avoid mirrors entirely, cover reflective surfaces, or let caregivers take over tasks like shaving or makeup. Others can be calmed by consistent routines and gentle reassurance, but for many, the conviction remains stubborn. Treatment focuses on addressing the underlying neurological cause when possible, and on supportive, reality-oriented strategies. In a few cases, psychiatric medications can help if there is an accompanying psychosis, but there's no simple pill that fixes the misidentification itself.
Are there famous cases or studies that help scientists understand it better?
Yes, researchers in neuropsychology have documented multiple case studies where detailed testing revealed intact face perception, but an inability to accept that the reflected person was the self. Those accounts helped shape the two-factor theory and pointed to the role of right hemisphere and frontal networks. Each case teaches us more about how fragile and distributed our sense of identity can be.
It makes you realize how much of me lives in circuits and connections. If those change, the basic things we take for granted, like recognizing our own face, can slip away.
Exactly. Mirror self-misidentification is a stark reminder that identity is both biological and experiential. For the people living with it, it's not a metaphor, it's a daily crisis of trust and the most immediate evidence of who you are. And for the rest of us, it asks a humbling question. How much of our sense of self depends on quiet reliability in our brains?
Thanks for walking through that. If someone listening is worried about symptoms like this in themselves or a loved one, what should they do?
See a neurologist or neuropsychologist. A proper assessment can identify whether there's an underlying brain condition, and teams can put together supportive care strategies. Early evaluation can also rule out treatable causes. And of course, approach the person with patience and empathy. It can be terrifying to doubt your own reflection.
We hope this conversation gave you a glimpse into a rare but powerful condition, and maybe a little more empathy for people whose minds work differently. Thanks for listening.
We hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and we'll be back with more engaging content soon.
Hey, have you heard about this strange thing where the mirror shows a perfectly normal face, but the person looking back doesn't feel like themselves?
I think so. You mean the case where the eyes work, the reflection is accurate, yet somehow the feeling of "that's me" never comes. It sounds impossible at first.
Exactly. The mirror isn't broken. The eyes aren't seeing wrong. The reflection is right there, detail by detail. But the brain, it refuses to attach that image to the idea of me.
So the face is recognized, but ownership is missing. That must feel like meeting a stranger who looks exactly like you. How does that even happen?
Scientists call it mirror self misidentification. It can follow brain injuries or occur with certain neurological conditions. The networks that knit together visual information and self-identity get disrupted.
So it's not the face that changes, it's the brain's silent process that says, "that's mine." When that process breaks, the obvious becomes confusing. The reflection feels real, but the connection doesn't.
Right. Imagine standing in front of a mirror every morning, and for the first time, the person staring back feels like someone else. You can describe the color of their eyes, the line of their jaw, even the scar near their brow, and still your mind whispers, "not me."
That must be terrifying. Identity feels so anchored to our face, but this shows it's really a story the brain tells, moment by moment. If that story unravels, everything familiar can become foreign.
And it's subtle. For most of us, that "that's me" recognition is instant and automatic. We never notice the heavy lifting our brain does. It's like solving one of the hardest puzzles without even trying.
What do we know about the brain areas involved? Is it a single place or a network?
Researchers point to networks linking visual regions with areas that process self-relevance and familiarity. Damage or dysfunction in those circuits can make your brain see the face and yet withhold the label "me." It's not so much a missing part as a broken connection.
So the stranger in the mirror never existed. The reflection never changed. Only the brain's sense of self did. That idea feels both unsettling and strangely poetic.
It does. Maybe the most important lesson is this. Your identity doesn't live in your eyes or your face. It's created inside your brain, again and again. When the invisible process that makes you slips, the most familiar person can become a complete stranger.
Which makes that quick glance in the mirror a little miraculous. The certainty that it's you is one of the greatest illusions your brain quietly pulls off every day.
And maybe the biggest brain glitch of all is realizing you don't recognize yourself because of the mirror. You recognize yourself because your brain tells you who you are.
Thanks for listening to Brain Glitch, where every mystery begins with a story and ends inside your mind. See you in the next glitch.
After credits teaser. Next time, imagine waking up feeling absolutely certain that today already happened. Every conversation, every step, every sound feels like you're living it for the second time. Not just for a moment, but all day long. Chronic déjà vu.
I still hear your voice at night, make me feel alright. Jump right back into my life. 'Cause we could dance the night away, make me love you through the haze. Ain't no need to be afraid,